I'm coming to you from the shores of Kauai in Hawaii. This beautiful island is the third eye chakra of Hawaii. This episode is all about the insights that I have gained in the integration process. And so here I am. As always, I go where I am called and I trust the intuitive hits that I get. The chakra that it represents of Hawaii is the throat chakra for expression. Visibility is not vanity. I am worthy. I am valuable. I am ready to be received. Feeling the fear and choosing to take the action, to be courageous. If this found you at whatever moment it found you, know that you were also divinely guided here. So, congratulations and welcome. Welcome to Heart's Home, the podcast. I'm your host, Lizzie Siegel, and I'm so grateful that you're here to join me for another solo soliloquy episode, where I riff on the soul expression that's alive in me in real time. As is the theme currently, we're going with the flow, letting the wind whip me every which way it calls me. And I'm coming to you from the shores of Kauai in Hawaii. This beautiful island is the third eye chakra of Hawaii. And it's so true and spot on to the episode that I am about to share with you. This episode is all about the insights that I have gained in the integration process. And being on this magical island, being so divinely guided, it feels like Mother Earth herself called me here and asked me to share this part of the journey, this part of my story with you. And so here I am. As always, I go where I am called and I trust the intuitive hits that I get. I've been sharing this expression so much on this trip and having this conversation come up time and time again that I feel it's really essential to just bring it to the forefront and anchor it in right from the beginning of the episode. You could choose fear or you could choose faith. The chakra that it represents of Hawaii is the throat chakra for expression. And beyond things I could explain, but I will at least share about them. This whole entire journey in Hawaii has been so divinely guided. I have learned so much along the way that I never knew before. And I'm one of those people who really believes that I know what I need to know when I need to know it. And there are lots of things that I'm sure I don't know, but I don't need to know them. And when I do need to know something, it's divinely dropped into my consciousness, whether that be through other people, through signs from the universe, from guides, from spirit, from my higher self, in so many different ways, always in all ways. And this episode particularly, what I'm going to be sharing with you is taking you on the journey with me through the magic, the miracles, the shadows, the expansion, and the integration that have brought me here to this very moment. So I have so much to share. I've got my show notes, like bullet points, and so do pardon me as there might be some gaps in, I need to tell this story where it anchors in, because I wanted this episode to be a lot more free-flowing and the stories that resonate with each part of this journey to flow freely as I share them. My intention today is not for you to simply consume this, but to co-create with it, with me, with all of us collectively who are watching this through whatever timeline, dimension, or plane of existence this finds you. If this found you at whatever moment it found you, know that you were also divinely guided here. So, congratulations and welcome. And the reason why I want you to co-create with me is because consumption without expression becomes stagnancy. And I speak to this from my personal experience. But when you express yourself, whether it be through journaling, speaking, or movement, that could be an action, it could be literal dance, flow, whatever it is, you integrate and embody. You go from the conceptual understanding to the embodiment, the being and the inner standing. And that's what this human experience is all about. We came here in a body to embody all that we are and to expand into more. So, as always, get comfy, grab a beverage if you need. Maybe this time you even grab your journal and a pen. And let this episode be a mirror. Let it be a spark. Let it be a bridge. And let it be the launch pad to your own liberation. Remember, Heart's Home is about the home that your heart belongs to and the heart that is always home. This podcast is a frequency shift. It's a paradigm shift. And together, we are moving into and architecting new earth. This is what we came here for. Remember? Welcome home. So, in the last episode that I shared with you, I shared it mid-leap. I was in a quantum leap, that exhilarating, disorienting space where the old timeline had dissolved, but the new one hadn't yet landed, and I had literally just landed in Hawaii when I had finished recording that episode. Well, literally being a few days after. And now I'm in the integration phase. So there's still a bit of the beautiful magic void, like I like to call it, where the old timeline has definitely dissolved and the new one hasn't fully and totally solidified. Yet I feel so deeply held and so deeply supported and safe and guided and protected, even to the point of the journey of the way that I went around the islands. So it was my original intention for this island, Kauai, to be the second island that I visited. However, the universe was like, oh no, girl, we need to take you on the proper journey, rooting you after your heart expanded open in Maui. So Maui is the heart chakra of Hawaii. Haleakala is said to be the heart chakra of Hawaii. Some call it the heart chakra of the earth. That's debatable, but we'll get into that another time. But the big island, where I went second, is actually the root chakra of Hawaii. And so after my heart opened and expanded and so much came to the surface, old timelines to be cleared, closed some karmic loops and karmic cycles, which I'll share about a little bit later, I was guided to the big island and rooted, grounded there. And that island, by the way, if you're ever going to Hawaii, do not miss the big island. It's epic. Its landscape is incredible. The vibe there, like the literal ooh vibration of that place is wild. And the volcano, Kilauea, I don't think I'm pronouncing so many of these names correctly. Probably should have done research on that. Oops. The volcano started erupting when I was there, but not like full-blown erupting, because when it did that, I had just gotten on a plane. So I got to see the red bubble up from the top, and that was super cool. I digress. The energy there is epic. It's just amazing. So let me share first about integration. Integration is like digestion. It's how the insights become embodiment. And so often, in so many spaces, places, realms, people skip the integration part. They skip the preparation and they skip the integration. They do the experience and expanding, but without that integration, we lose the medicine of the leap. So I talk a lot about quantum leaps, and they can be big quantum leaps, they can be little quantum leaps, which seems like an oxymoron, but it's not. But when we quantum leap, If we do not anchor into and integrate the new beingness, the lesson, the medicine is lost. It would be literally like eating food without digesting it. You taste it, but your body never actually gets nourished. And so we kind of ask then, well, what's the point? Tasting things is great, but if you're going to not be able to sustain life, does it even matter? So for me, integration has meant slowing down. It's meant being quite quiet, especially in my activity on social media many of the days. It's meant feeling what's alive in my body and noticing the emotions, oh, so many of them, the sensations that come up as I expand into more. And the thing about the integration process is everything that needs to come up to the surface to be released or to be enhanced will come up. And sometimes this process can be a little bit jarring. Sometimes it can be really smooth and easy. It just kind of depends on where your nervous system's capacity is at for holding it and regulating. And thank heavens, thank you universe, that I have been doing this work, the heart work as I always call it, for many years, so that the integration process has been rather smooth and beautiful. And in those moments when it hasn't been so smooth and easy, there's been a few of them, instead of bypassing, I've been naming them and tending to them. So this is the first step of my frequency first framework. Feel it first, because you cannot shift what you will not let yourself feel. And there are so many of those manifestation practices that talk about just like thinking positive, feeling into the vibration of what you desire. And they're not incorrect yet. If you've got an underlying feeling that is your dominant frequency that you're broadcasting, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. I believe this is like a Wayne Dwyer quote. I've been hearing it a lot lately because I've been writing about this a lot lately. Just that quote came into my awareness today, which is why I'm not 100% sure of who said that. But your soul is always emitting a unique signature frequency, and that dominant frequency is what you're bringing or allowing to connect with you, because you are an electromagnetic frequency signaling out to the universe like a Wi-Fi. And it's a matter of how open are you to allowing things to enter your field. And when you are blocked, it's not that you're actually blocked, you're just keeping stuff from getting to you because you're vibrating at a frequency that is not in true alignment and authenticity with your soul signature frequency. So we need to become very aware of the feelings that we're dominantly experiencing in order to shift them and let ourselves feel into a new frequency. So with that journal and pen, you might want to jot this prompt down, or you could even pause and actually answer it right now. What is alive in your body right now? What emotion, sensation, or frequency are you broadcasting in this now moment? And if you're unsure about that, you can breathe into it, feel into it, and you can also look to your external mirror, that is reality, to notice what is showing up for you. And I wanted to say just a little piece there, because when you get really clear and in authentic alignment, what's showing up in your mirror, your reflection, your reality, can often be in direct correlation to the emotion, the feeling you're experiencing now. Yet oftentimes our manifested reality, because we live in a time-space reality and we're human, we have a time lag. So just because something's showing up now doesn't mean that's always your dominant frequency. There is a level of discernment there. And this is something that I teach my clients, my students, the people that I work with, so that they can become really clear discerners of, is this a now thing or is this a ripple? And it's asking me to hold steady in my vibration that I've currently anchored into. So let that be food for thought. And if you'd like to dive further with that, you can always connect with me. And that is something that I teach you when I get to spend more time working with you individually or collectively in groups. The beautiful part about this integration is I needed to go on a journey of integration. And in my mind, I thought I would go to Kauai right after Maui, because everybody was telling me how beautiful it was and how wonderful the nature is, la la la, and they're not wrong. And I was like, well, cool, amazing. And I started researching where I could go, how I could stay there, what were the different things I could do. And I came across, so this one guy at the hostel that I was staying at, he said that he and his girlfriend came to this island and like she planned everything, and they rented this overlander vehicle with a pop tent. And I was like, ooh, that sounds fantastic, because the guy who runs this organizes everything for you in terms of like the camping gear. It's all included in the overlander vehicle with the pop tent. And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. That's something I'd like to do. And I also know myself, I'm a bougie, lovely lady, and I like camping in small doses. So I was like, okay, I would do that for a couple of nights. So when I went to rent one of those vehicles, I was like, oh, you have to book well in advance. I'm not prepared for that. Okay. So then I thought, well, how else could I do this? And I was like, well, I still want to go to the Big Island and I still want to go to Oahu. So let me just kind of like change the order of the islands that I'm going to go to. And that worked perfectly, because the Big Island is actually the southernmost one. And then I could loop back up to the top. And then I learned that he also has those vehicles on the Big Island, but I didn't end up renting it there. I stay, and I needed a few days to myself. That was the other beautiful blessing in disguise. So after a retreat, there is a lot of energy going on. There's a lot that happens. And I spent still more time in Maui, like another week or so, and I was still around people for most of that time because I wanted to go on adventures. And so I chose to go back to the hostel that I had been staying at originally. And it was so perfect, because the night that I got there, I met a girl who was in my dorm, and she and I became fast friends. We were like kindred spirits. And she was even saying like she felt like I was a version of her in the future. And that was so special to me, because I've definitely had those moments of connection where I feel like this about other people in my life. And so we were talking, we went to the beach, we hung out for a few days together. And what a magical little human. I know that I'm divinely dropped into people's lives at important choice points. And I feel like that's what our connection was, because she was on a trip. She had just finished university or college in the States is what they call it. And before she would dive into working a career, she wanted to take a little journey. And she was talking about how like she's not so sure about what she actually wants to do with her life, but there's a lot of expectations and she should go get a job and la la la. And I was like, don't do anything you're not passionate about. There are so many ways that you can make money, and just because you have a degree doesn't mean that you have to follow that path. And as we got to talking more and more, our paths are so similar. The stories of our families are so similar. And there was just so much alignment, like timeline, synchronicity about it. And I know that she felt so expanded, because we had these conversations. So she felt so expanded into knowing that there are infinite ways that she can create the life of her dreams, and that you don't just have to follow the path that is expected of you because somebody has those expectations. Whenever there is a path that seems heavy and there's a lot of shoulds on it, I always remind people that should is just a could with some shame on top. And in order to get rid of the shame, we need to share it, and then it will shh. And you know me, I love alliteration. So I think that that's so perfect to like share the story, share the similarity, share the shame, to illuminate it and to realize that it's just a shadow, and a shadow doesn't want to be obliterated. What it really wants is to be loved and to be allowed to exist and to be witnessed and experienced, so that you can integrate it into the wholeness of who you are and alchemize that pain into purpose, into pleasure, into play. So why? This is going to be how this episode rolls. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So show notes. That's why I have them. It was about claiming my role and the frequency first framework. So while I was in this integration process, while I was in Maui, Hawaii, on this retreat, I had so many divine downloads. I had so many soul quaking moments, and I closed a couple of karmic cycles and karmic loops. Okay, now this part, I gotta tell like some full stories here. So I was like, I would say sorry, but I'm not sorry. Enjoy these stories. I'm sure they will resonate with you. Closing karmic loops is a big deal. When you are so aware that you can step outside of the cycle and simply be the witness and the observer of it, and then choose a different path, this is how we close a karmic cycle. And during this retreat, oh boy, what needed to come up to the surface so came up. So this beautiful retreat was called Soul Stripped. And true to its name, we're gonna strip it all back, all the way, all the layers to the soul. Now, I've been in this healing journey. I have been on this healing journey for more than a decade. So to me, not to say that like, I'm so fully healed, I have no more healing work to do. No, that's not it. We will always have more levels and layers of healing, and that's life. Because that spiral, we descend deeper to rise higher. And for me, I'm also at a point in my life where I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, sure, there's going to be like little blips that come up that I do need to heal and grow from, but I don't feel the need to do this deep, dark, digging, excavation work because I've done so much of it. So I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, yeah, healing gets to be the joyful journey. It is the heart work, like I always say. And I also don't think healing has to be a big, heavy thing. And there are different people at different points in their journey. So I chose to go on this retreat because my beautiful friend was hosting it, a soul sister that I knew I wanted to meet. And for me, it was like ooh, yes, that's the reason that'll get me to Hawaii right now. And like Hawaii was like, Lizzie, you need to be here. It's been calling me literally for 5 years. So this was the excitement moment that got me here. And I also know that even though I was not a facilitator on this retreat, that my soul journey was guiding me towards this retreat, and I had soul work to do there. And so this came up because no matter where I go and what I do, I am who I am. And I am a frequency keeper. And I am a portal priestess. I am a magical shield keeper as well. And so I work with divine source codes. And I also work with energetic protection and grid work to uplift collective consciousness and to hold containers, to hold frequencies, so that the deep energetic healing work can be done everywhere through all timelines, dimensions, and planes of existence. And I can't not be me. This is just who I be. And so in this space, I was doing my daily practices, and that is working with collective consciousness grids and portals through galactic realms, angelic realms, and working with different elementals, different spirits, different guides to uplift humanity. And I would do this anyway, whether I was on retreat or not. I literally do it every day, whether I'm on a retreat or not. And being on this retreat, I was definitely holding an energetic container and space and field of protection around our group, around our space. And I also am the space holder for space holders. So the facilitators who are on this retreat, they are holding so much space. They are doing so much important work, and they are gifting and giving of themselves and holding a lot. And so who's there to hold them? Ana. In Arabic, it means I am. And so I really anchored into that role of who I be and what I'm here to do. And so for a long time, I've actually known this is one of my roles, especially on retreats. I'm the space holder for space holders, whether they know it or not, whether I'm intentionally invited for that reason or not. It is the role that I play. And I step into that role basically every time I've been on retreat. And in this retreat, during this retreat, I really learned the power of my magic, and I'm so grateful to my soul sister for going on this journey with me. And so one of the karmic cycles that I closed is that I realized in my journey that I have been paying to enter and access spaces to help other people for so much of my career as a healer and a guide and a teacher. And it's funny because it was a wounded healer wound that I needed to close the karmic cycle of, and to speak freely and to stand up for myself and to say, hey, like, these gifts that I share, that I offer, these are things that I actually charge people for. These are not just to give without consideration of the time and effort and energy that it takes from me. And like, when I come on a retreat to be a participant, it is different than when I come on a retreat to be a space holder and a facilitator. And so I got to close that karmic cycle out with my soul sister and to share that perspective with her. And I remember sitting down to have this, what was a challenging conversation for me, because for me to state that so plainly and to claim my worth, because I think, honestly, hadn't done that so clearly in the past, I said to her, thank you from a soul level for choosing to be this soul sister with me, for choosing to go on this journey with me. We prearranged this before we came here into physical form, and I am eternally grateful for you for allowing me to voice what I need to voice and share that with you. And she took it all in. She held it with so much love, and it only fortified our relationship. And that's why I love when you speak your truth, when you stand for yourself in your worth, and know that you are valuable beyond measure, that you are inherently worthy. The universe will meet that vibration because the universe is unconditionally supportive. And so that was one beautiful cycle that I closed out. And another cycle that I closed out during this retreat. Okay, so for my lifetime, I have been, and I've been single for the last 3.5 or so years, and I've dated people for small amounts of time, and always, since to this point, I had been having a very similar type of relationship where, it definitely evolved. And I realized in this time at the retreat, so when I got back to Canada, backstory, when I got back to Canada, literally 2 days after I got back home, I met this beautiful human. And, oh, gosh, thank you, universe, more of these, more of that, more of people like this in my life. I met a beautiful human, and we saw each other for about a month and a half. And he was an absolute light, an absolute gift in my life. And I needed to close a karmic cycle with him. So when I was in Maui on the 8/8 portal, literally on a portal day, I closed a portal that was a karmic cycle that had been looping so often in my life. Now, definitely, his and my relationship was like the highest octave reflection that I've ever had of such a beautiful relationship that is in alignment, that is with deep connection and so much understanding. And there was still a piece that was a reflective mirror tool to me, in that he was going through a transition, which is totally fine. Had just gone through a transition the month before of moving and all that, knowing how much energy that takes up. And he was not fully available to be in relationship. And that was so challenging, because that was the karmic cycle I needed to close, of like somebody fully choosing me. And I realized that until I fully chose myself, that was never going to happen. And so with so much love and with so much gratitude and so much like, so close, but not quite, I lovingly released him and said, like, you go do you, live, do what you need to do, live the life you need to live. And, you know, I'm not available for half-hearted relationships. I'm not available for half in. I am the kind of person who jumps full in, and that's what I want in a relationship, a fully committed, like, we are in this together type of relationship. And so that was a karmic cycle that I got to close. And I described it to my friends afterwards. Like, that was the most beautiful and loving breakup that I've ever had in my life. And I'm so grateful. And did it kind of hurt? Definitely. There was like the heartache that happens. Yet, knowing that if I'm going to keep living the full yes life, there is no room for half-hearted commitment. There is no room for dissatisfaction. There is no room for almost yeses. It has to be a full body hell yes, or it's a holy no. And that was a karmic cycle that I was closing out there. And I feel like there was one more karmic cycle. Oh yeah. So another interesting thing that happened on this retreat was this energy of like Mean Girls and people being triggered by my insight, by my light, by my willingness to be fully me, and me having to literally feel the repercussions, like the kickback of that, almost as if I'm being attacked. And I've experienced this loop a few times in my life before, and in those times before, man, did I crumble. Man, did I like just totally dissolve and cry and feel so much pain and heartache and hurt about it. And this time when it happened, I went, I know this story. I know this flavor. I'm here to activate people. I'm here to be a trigger. I'm here to be a catalyst. And this has been something that has been one of the most challenging parts of my journey, of being able to say, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being the bad guy in your story, the villain in your story. I'm okay with triggering you. I'm okay with activating you, because this is part of what I'm here to do. And let's be real. If you are magnetic, which I am, and so are you, and if you are truly standing in your authentic magnetism, magnets are polar. They attract, yes, but they also repel. And so in order to be fully in your authentic frequency, there's going to be some haters. There's going to be some people that you repel. There are going to be some people that do not like your frequency. They're like, ooh, get away from me. And they're going to also perhaps be projecting their bullshit. Oh yeah, can I say that bull? Their BS, their belief systems onto you. And for me, it's been a lifelong lesson to observe, not absorb, when others are projecting that kind of stuff onto me. Because my whole life, I was the good girl, the obedient one, the nice one. And it was actually really triggering for me when I would trigger other people, because I never wanted to upset somebody. I never wanted to make somebody feel worse than when I had met them. It's like, don't leave a park dirtier than you got there, like your campsites. Make it tidier than when you came. And so I had a lot of inner work to do with being okay with triggering people. And this retreat was like the final closing of that, because when I triggered this person, I was like, oh, I just kept breathing through it. And I was like, I know this story, and yep, that's what I'm here to do. And I'm okay that I'm triggering you. I'm okay that like this is your projection putting it on me. And while I could take it in the moment and just breathe through it, I also knew that I had a responsibility, the ability to respond, not to react, not to act again, to hyperventilate, to cry, to have a freak out, to lash back. But I had the ability to respond later, after I had breathed through it, after I had gathered my thoughts, when I wasn't feeling like attacked or hurt or any of that. And I individually talked to the people that were involved in this situation and said my piece, and also said like, that's not okay. It is not okay to treat somebody like that. It's not okay to do stuff like that. And if you've got something to say, if you've got a question, if you've got a problem, if you've got anything, talk to me directly, because I guarantee it's just a miscommunication, a misunderstanding, or it's something that you've read into that is not the intention behind it. And sure enough, that was the case. And it's so good because I was able to just hold my ground, hold my frequency, and to rise above the drama, because ain't nobody got time for that. Drama, mean girl behavior. We are what are we? 12? Like, no, we don't have time for this anymore. This is not the way of the future. We need to hype each other up. Even if you don't like somebody, like if they're not your favorite person, that's fine. But you can still be respectful. You can still be kind. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to attack. You don't have to put somebody else down to rise yourself up. That's the old way of the world. And we are going into the new paradigm, the new shift, the new frequency, and there's no room for that. So yeah, that was another karmic cycle that I got to close out. Ooh, and also part of that was asking for support, because I had to ask the facilitators, like, to be able to support me in that moment, to say like what I actually needed in that moment was some support, was for not even like support to say like back me up, just to say like, this isn't okay. We're not doing this right now, to cut it out before it amplified into what it amplified. And so I've also learned a lot about, which I think I already knew this about space holding. Like when we're holding space, we have to make sure that that is a safe space. We have to set the container for safety first, so that everybody truly can be their authentic, expressive selves and feel safe to be fully themselves in their highest expression. So much learning, so much beauty in that situation. Okay, so now let me go back to the notes. What I've been integrating most strongly for me here in Hawaii has been my role, who I am and what I'm here to do. I am a manifestation embodiment mentor, yo. I teach people not just about manifestation and like the process of it, but how to actually do it and how to actually be it. I am an ascension guide. I help you ascend to your highest expression of self, and how to open and activate your light body. This is what I do. This is what I came here for. This is what I help people remember. Remember? I am also an architect of New Earth, the New Earth Theater, and my own reality. And one of the ways that I live this role, and I live it, I embody it, I be it, is through grid working. So I want to share with you what is grid working, because I know that I like toss this word around a lot in my daily life, actually, and sometimes in my social medias. And on this trip in Hawaii, I've had the opportunity to actually talk about grid working to people who either are like, ooh, what's that? That sounds interesting. Or to other people who are actually like, I know what you're doing. And I think it's so important because grid working is an esoteric job that's super important. Grid working means tending to the energetic nervous system of the earth and of humanity. It means harmonizing the ley lines and vortexes. It means opening portals, doorways between dimensions, between timelines and between frequencies, and anchoring those codes into this world. And that's what I am here to do. That's who I be. That's how I do the work that I do. This isn't something that I learned in a classroom, let me tell you. It's something I've always known. And as a child, I was drawn to vortexes and portals. I remember being like 6 years old and on a cruise, and even before this cruise, like researching where we were going and being fascinated by the Bermuda Triangle. And on my first or second cruise, being gifted a necklace that had Machu Picchu on it from one of my friends, and feeling that divine calling to that portal. And even though I didn't have the words for all of this back then, I knew so clearly. And I would always feel that pull towards these vortexes and working with portals. I actually started working with portals as early, I actually want to say probably as early as 3 years old. But definitely there was a time that I was very cognizant of working with a portal when I was about 7, 8 years old. And one portal, like I shut, and it was like my connection to my a lot of my psychic abilities. I'll tell that story another time. And another one of those connections was opening a portal in my body that I was in such despair. I know, as an 8-year-old, what are you in despair about? But there were times when I was young where I was incredibly severely depressed. And I was just, in such despair that I remember calling. I didn't know what to do. And so I called on my angels. I called on my guides. And in this moment, I opened a portal in my body that I actually didn't remember that I had opened until 20 years later when I closed it. Again, story for another time. But portals are something that I've been working with. And now, so for the past 6 years, I've been very consciously working with portals. So truthfully, I've been doing it my whole life, but consciously for the last 6 years. And vortices, they are amplifiers. They spiral the energy, they magnify it, and they accelerate it. You can think of a vortex of a spinning vortex of water or a tornado or something like that, the literal visual of a vortex. And portals are more like gateways or doorways. They connect dimensions, places, times, and states of consciousness. They can be energetic, physical, technological, temporal, or states of awareness themselves. So portals are super, so cool. And if this is piquing your interest, definitely connect with me. I would love to know if you're like, ooh, portals. I feel like I'm drawn into that. And I would love to share more about that with you. So this is how I grid work. It's how I serve as a starseed, as a light worker, and part of the collective ascension mission. This is how I anchor coherence through the earth, through the grids, and through the body. Because again, we are a spirit in a human form. We are a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in a human form, in a human body. We are here to embody it all. It is the embodiment that is so important. Yes, we are ascending, yet we came here to be human. So enjoy the ride. All of this connects directly to my framework, by the way, the Frequency First framework. So this part is particular for the regulation and the shift. You need to learn how to regulate your nervous system, the personal grid. Your nervous system is your personal grid. If you think of any kind of grid, like graph paper, if you think about a network grid, like the internet network, or if you think of like a network of humans connected. If you think of any of that, it is a grid. And your nervous system is your personal grid. It is your personal network. It is how your body communicates through frequency, through energy. And you need to regulate your nervous system so that you can expand your capacity to receive. And then you can shift your frequency. So when we are working with the nervous system's capacity to expand, how do we do this? One of the easiest and free ways is through your breath. Learn how to breathe properly. And if you don't know how to learn how to breathe properly, if you're like, what does that even mean? Please drop in the comments. teach me how to breathe, please. Because I have a course that I am going to put into the world soon. It's just a month-long course that is for breathing. And it is one of the most simple but beautiful avenues to access your nervous system, but also higher states of consciousness. And when you learn how to breathe with intention, properly, to regulate your nervous system, to come back into balance, to homeostasis with the self, heart's home, then you can shift your frequency. I want to say like on command, which definitely with practice, definitely on command. And at first, maybe not on command, maybe not that easily, because just like anything, it takes practice, it takes consistency, it takes doing the heart work, because we get our brain and our heart into coherence with nervous system regulation. And from this place of coherence, we can truly manifest anything that is on our heart's desire and has been placed there from a soul-led success place. So, choosing the vibration of your preferred timeline as a felt truth and not a fantasy is what's really key here. Because so often in manifestation, you'll hear the idea of like, fake it till you make it, feel into the vibration of already having it, assume that the end position. But if you don't actually know how to regulate the nervous system in order to create that feeling, to create that frequency experience, then it is really just faking it. And okay, sure, you can fake it until you make it, but that's going the hard way. That's doing a lot of force instead of flow. So the way that I teach it is about regulating first so that the ease and the flow of the frequency feeling can come in divine timing. Okay, and now a little journaling prompt for you. When in your life have you felt called? Oh yeah, this is for the grid workers, by the way. So I'm sure that if you're listening to this has found you for a very specific purpose, and probably you are some kind of light worker, starseed, grid worker, way shower, visionary, frequency keeper yourself. So when in your life have you felt called to a place, a moment, or a practice that made no logical sense, but felt deeply aligned? And follow-up question, did you listen? Did you go? And what unfolded when you went? And could that have been your way of grid working? Okay, so now I want to share with you about a story of literally things not making sense, but just going where I'm called. Actually, I have so many stories of this from this trip, but which one will I share with you? Okay, I'm going to share with you my day a couple of days ago on Kauai. The second day on Kauai, I had just spent the night camping on a beautiful beach, basically all by myself. And I knew that I wanted to go hiking, and I knew that I wanted to see like the west-ish side of the island. And so I also woke up and I was like, I need some food for today. Like, I don't want to go to the grocery. Well, I thought about going to the grocery store, but I was like, nah, I don't want to like take the extra time to make stuff. I'm just going to go to like some cafe. And since I'm vegan, acai bowls in Hawaii have been like the go-to, and they're so delicious here. They're super popular. So I didn't know where one was, but I was like, I know that if I go towards this town, they will have something, because I had driven through the town the other day and there were like lots of food trucks, lots of cafes, all sorts of things. So I just literally went with what my body was calling me, and I drove. And so I have this massive vehicle, the Overlander, and it was like, you can't just stop really quickly. And so I drove past this one place and I was like, that's where I want to go. But I had to like turn around to get there. So I turned around in the grocery store parking lot and I went back and parked my big vehicle. I went inside and I was like, what a vibe this is. Like, even the names of their bowls, they had like the Gandhi bowl, the Buddha bowl, the Avatar bowl. Like, the vibe inside was amazing. They had like spaceships on the wall, like painted. They had graffiti spaceships or spray paint. They had spray painted the ceiling. There were all these quotes. And then on one of their other walls, they have like this massive world map, and everybody who visits there can like put a sticker from where they're visiting from. So it was just such my vibe. Anyway, I ordered the Gandhi bowl. It had like acai, granola, macadamia nuts, papaya, bee pollen. It had like everything. Oh, coconut meat. It was so, so, so good. And then this couple came in after me, and I was taking like a lot of videos, and the guy was like trying to duck out of my videos. Respectfully, I made sure to not get him in there. And then we sat down to eat in the dining area, and we started talking, and the lady was kind of like asking what I do, and I was sharing a little bit about what I do, and they were like, are you some sort of social media influencer? And I'm like, kinda getting there. But really what I do is like I coach people and I guide them to live their best lives and to have to actually manifest the life that they only dream of, to reprogram subconscious limiting beliefs, and to navigate the transition from one stage to the next, and also to hold them accountable as they go. And she was like, wow, I love that. And she was telling me that she was studying her master's in happiness, and I was like, what? This is amazing. And her husband, I found out, was like a school teacher. He had been a teacher for most of his career and now was a guidance counselor, and he was like, they had 5 more years of their roles, so she has 2 businesses and one of them she's selling, another one she will sell in like 5 years, and he's going to do his job for 5 more years because he wants to retire and get his pension. He's worked hard for it. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense. Yes. And they were inspired by me living the soul aligned life, and I was equally inspired by them for choosing to go after their dreams, especially knowing the commitment and the stay factor of biding their time and doing things in a way that is the path of least resistance. And that's what I also teach about and share about, is like, if your belief systems don't support like the actual leap away from your life that you've always known, you need to build the bridge to get there. That's what I had to do for the last few years of being able to leap away from my life of in the lap of luxury in Kuwait into this new type of luxury. So, 1, divinely guided to meet with these humans, and that was part of the grid working, because I knew the universe placed me there to have this conscious conversation with this beautiful human, to just share a little bit about what is possible when you fully trust yourself and go all in on you. And that was beautiful. Then I was driving up the road to get to the canyon, and along the way I saw a hitchhiker, and my instant reaction was like, I should pick him up. Because my friend and I had been hitchhiking in the Volcanoes National Park just to get back to our car. We parked it. We just parked far away from where we were earlier that week. And nobody picked us up. And so I was like, you should totally pick up hitchhikers when they feel safe. Please don't go around picking up all the hitchhikers. But like in Hawaii, they're pretty safe, I feel. Anyway, I'm a super good judge of energy. And I was like, nope, this guy is a vibe. I should pick him up. So again, big vehicle, can't just pull over easily. And I was recording something, so I needed to finish that. So I pulled up a little bit ahead and just waited for him to stop by. And then I said, where are you going? And he said, I just want to go as far as I can go to like some kind of hiking trail. And I was like, yeah, get in. I'm doing the same. And his name was David. And man, was he a sacred mirror. So, so, so cool. The universe literally aligns the perfect guides in our lives for the perfect reasons at the perfect moments. And I was so grateful. So this guy moved from Pennsylvania. By the way, met so many people on this trip from Pennsylvania, like a crazy amount of people. But he was from Pennsylvania, but he'd been living on this island, Kauai, for 8 years. And so he knew a lot about the island. And I have this subconscious belief that, like, I get to meet locals or, like, people who are kind of local, and they take me on tours and show me around to things that, like, most normal people don't get to see. And so sure enough, this cool guy, he is a gardener, to say it plainly, like he keeps on a farm, and he knows so much about plants, which is also really cool because he could teach me a lot about them. And he knew like flowers that we could eat and different fruits off of trees, so we got to forage a little bit on our journey. And then when we went to one place for the lookout, it was all misty, but he knew a special trail that if you hopped a fence and went through a thing that said don't go through, you could go to one of the most amazing lookouts ever. And we did this hike, and oh my gosh, what a beautiful hike it was. And also, what a beautiful guide he was, because we were literally cosmic mirrors to each other. He had also just previously ended a short relationship, like almost around the same time that I had. And we were sharing our experiences and sharing like about life and fears and what came up and all those things. And absolutely everything that he was sharing with me was so resonant, but it was also giving me a good perspective into like the way a man might view something. And so that was super helpful. And so I learned a lot from him, and he was actually taking notes on some of the things I said, bless him, because like he really felt like I had so much wisdom to share. And so he was guiding me like physically on a tour, and I was guiding him metaphorically through some parts of life, and vice versa, because I was the one driving and he was also giving me insights into life that I needed to hear. And part of this hike, though, what's really important was I don't always know where I need to go and what I need to do until I get there. But when I get there, I'm like, oh, this is the spot. This is where I need to anchor in some frequency, my light codes, do my light language, and work with the collective consciousness grids. And it was up on this mountain in a big lookout spot, looking over like, what did he call it? Airplane Pass or something, where my soul remembered. And it was like, this is where you're going to anchor in a point. And so I got to sit there, work with the collective consciousness grids, work with my light language, work with the divine source codes that I have been gifted. And he simply sat there holding space while I was doing my energetic work. And that was such a blessing for me, because there have been so many beautiful guides in my life who have been holding the space for me while I do my energetic work. So just like I'm a space holder for space holders, sometimes as such a space holder, I also need to be held in space. And the universe always provides me with these divine masculine energies to do that, even if I don't know them or I've just kind of recently met them. And I've been so blessed with that. So thank you, universe. More, please. Always and always. Please. More of that. So there are definitely some more stories of synchronicity that I will share with you. What I wanted to share is about, the next part is about visibility and leadership and taking inspired and aligned action. And also, do we want to just like lean this way and that way so you can see the beautiful reflection of the sun setting behind me? Yeah, we do. So one of the clearest lessons that has come through in this integration is this. I can no longer whisper what was meant to be spoken boldly. My days of being quiet, of being demure, of being polite, of being shy, of keeping the peace with silence, they are done. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I just felt like my angels were literally singing that chorus right now. Because truly, for too long, for the exact amount of time, let's be real, I softened my message. I worried it might be too out there, that it might be too much. Like me sharing what I'm sharing, this story, talking about grid working, all this stuff so clearly and boldly for my podcast. I wasn't doing this before because I was afraid. But keeping this hidden wasn't just me being afraid, and it wasn't just me being timid. I realized it was actually me being selfish, because I was making my mission more about me than about you, than about the collective, which is what it's always been about. Yet if I don't share it fully, if I don't express it in its wholeness as it's been desiring to be channeled through me, I can't really be all of me. And as I've learned through the last month or 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, this year, 2025, the year of integration, I have learned that by being fully me, not only do I become more happy, more joyful, more me, but I also give that permission slip to others to be more of yourself, because the unknown might seem scary, but I promise you, all you will ever find in the unknown is more of yourself. And it's beautiful. You're beautiful. So my mission isn't just about me. It's about us. It's about the collective. It is about all that is, through all dimensions, timelines, planes of existence, not just here on Earth, but our universe. And we are all one. So finally, I became the leader I always wish I had. Because the one I needed didn't actually exist. And that took a while to reconcile, actually. Because I spent so much time being frustrated and feeling almost in victim mindset of like feeling not fully held, not fully supported, and feeling a little bit like wronged, even, if you will, victimized by not having the support that I needed. And then I realized no one's coming to save you but you, baby. You are the way, the truth, and the life. And that Bible verse that says, no man cometh unto the Father but by me, that first part and the second part, that's not how it works. Jesus was trying to tell us, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Your way is the right way. You are the one who's coming to save you. There's nobody else coming to save you. It's you, baby. It's you and you playing a game with yourself in this vast universal game of life. And once you can see that and know that, then you are the empowered co-creator of your reality. And it's not to say don't lean on all these teachings and take the lessons and learn from them, but discern. Know the distortion that was placed in those messages. Know the distortion that can be all around you, and try to sweep you up into more of the fear matrix, and instead choose faith. Trust yourself. And it doesn't mean don't let others support you. That's also not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's you who is going to be the leader for you, and you're going to have other leaders and guides help you along the way, but only you can know what's the most right for you, your own path of rightness, your dharma. And this is what I wished. Oh my God, this is what I wished I had have known from the beginning of my journey. If somebody had told me this at the beginning of the journey, it would have collapsed years of time. Years. Instead, I felt like I had to do things everybody else's way because they promised and they said, if you just follow X, Y, and Z, you will be successful. If you just follow blah, blah, and blah, you will la, la, la. If you just say it this way, la, 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 la. If you make it more digestible, if you la, la, la. And all of that, you know, all truths are true. So all of that, sure, I guess it could be true. And I will still boldly say what others are not saying. Nope, your way is the right way. I have all the toys in my toy chest that you can choose from, that you can build from, that you can play with to help you be who you came here to be. Yet your way of playing with them, of using them, of building with them is going to be the exact right way for you, and only you can know that. I can guide you, I can help you, I can support you and encourage you along the way. That's the real gift that I have. So I became the leader I always wished I had, because the one I needed didn't exist. So I had to forge the path instead of following. You're welcome. And I want you to know, truly, the path you choose to follow, you will always make it the right path. There is no wrong. There is no getting it wrong. That's just a concept. That's just an idea. And again, all truths are true. So, okay, I guess you could get it wrong. But if you choose to believe differently, that like there is no wrong, there's just figuring it out, then you will have so much more joy and fun along your journey. Instead of thinking that you're failing, instead of thinking that you're doing it wrong, it's all part of the experience. Reminder, again, do it your way, not my way, not the industry's way, yours. You are the architect of your reality. I am the architect of my reality. You get to choose which toys, in what order, in what version you want to play with, and me too. And when we decide to play together, it's so much more fun because then we can build bigger castles, then we can play more expansive games, then we can play team games. And once we can have this approach to life, it just becomes so much more fun. Collaboration over competition. And the only competition that you should, I say should is just a could with some shame on top. Do whatever the heck you want. That's fine by me. But the only competition that I am in is with myself to be better than I was before. And it's still not even competition. I really look at it as collaboration with myself. It's me and me helping me to get better. And when we collaborate, when we truly collaborate, not collaboration like kind of wearing a mask, sort of being collaboration, but really it's just competition masquerading as collaboration or cooperation, none of that. Like true collaboration, collective collaboration, moving from hierarchy to heterarchy. And most people don't even know this word, but heterarchy is the idea of a collective whereby no one person is more important than another. There are maybe individuals or groups within a collective, and while there might be like an order in a sense of like your part needs to be done before this part, before this part, before this part, and right now your part's the most important because it needs to get done, it still doesn't place people above each other. It places everybody on the same plane and working together for a collective mission. And I had this divine download many years ago, and I put it out into the world via a website that doesn't really exist anymore. Oh, I laugh at myself. And I'm circling back around to this idea because this is true collaboration. This is collective consciousness up-leveling together. And this is what I'm here for. Remember, you are too. This is what we came here for. Okay, so here's another truth bomb that I've come to recognize and start embodying. Visibility is not vanity. Oh, it feels so good to say that. Visibility is service. By choosing to be seen, you are saying to the universe, I am saying to the universe, I am worthy, I am valuable, I am ready to be received. This is aligned action. And this is the part of my frequency first framework that comes after nervous system regulation and shifting frequencies. This is the inspired and aligned action. And this is embodiment in motion. This is me walking my talk right here, right now. I always practice what I preach. And if I don't, then I know that I'm misaligned, and then I do the work, the heart work, to get back into alignment. And then I practice what I preach. I walk the walk and I talk the talk. And this is so important because if you're doing all the other work, the background work, and then you get to the action piece and then you don't take action, what the heck are you doing? I had this recently come up with a client of mine, and because it is part of my role to lovingly hold people accountable to what they say they're going to do, taking their inspired and aligned action step, I lovingly called her on it. And I sent her a voice note, and I reminded her that physical action, the action step that you planned, you must actually do it. That's why we call it action. You must actually do it to self-actualize, to self-realize, to see things with your real eyes in this physical reality. And I reminded her of what she set out to accomplish. I reminded her that that was just fear rearing its ugly head and the subconscious doing its job to protect her. And I gave her the reminder. And with that, she was able to complete her action step. That wasn't even that scary. And then go more steps further to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And to truly expand into more of who she is here to be. And to host her workshop. And I'm just so stinking proud of her. Oh, this is the dream client. Seriously, this is one of my favorite clients I've ever worked with. She is just such a rock star. And even in those moments when she gets stuck, she's willing to say, hey, I need help. I didn't do the thing I said I was going to do. Can you help me? She understands the process, and she boldly leans into the discomfort and shares the shame to get rid of it, so that we can transmute it and we can shine the light and illuminate the shadow and integrate it so that you can move forward and take the inspired and aligned action, which is that final step to manifest your reality. Your manifestation is on the other side of your fear. The way to move through fear is to do it with courage. Courage doesn't mean there is no fear. It means moving through the fear anyways, feeling the fear and choosing to take the action, to be courageous, and knowing that through the heart, that's where the courage comes from. You will follow in faith and you will see your manifestation land on the other side of fear. This part, is this what I want to share now? Yeah. The magic void. Let me talk a little bit more about the magic void. So here I am. I feel like I'm near the end of the magic void because I've been through enough of these in my life to like know the flavors of it, to know the sensations, to know the telltale signs of being so close to the end of a magic void where it's like everything has gone silent. Like the things that you were manifesting, the little signs and the symptoms from the universe, little telltale parts along the journey where it's like the almost yeses but not quites have flowed in and flooded you, and then silence. This is the magic void, and I feel like this is what's happening right now. The old timeline has fully dissolved. The new one is forming, and it's almost formed, but it hasn't fully crystallized yet. And I don't know exactly what's next, and I have never felt more free. I've been doing things beyond my wildest imagination on this trip. Did I tell you I went scuba diving with manta rays and they gifted me a new divine source code? Like, what? It's called Araya, and I tapped into a different level of consciousness. And it's so beautiful. And I have never felt more free. I'm having all these amazing, wild, beautiful experiences, living moment to moment, not having too much planned. Like tomorrow, I think I'm going to go to Oahu, but I actually don't even have my flight booked. I was divinely guided by my highest self to do this episode recording first and then figure it out. So here I am. But I'm literally living moment to moment. I am so present in my reality. And it's so, so beautiful. This is the freedom. This is the life that I cultivated, that I designed on purpose with intent. How did I get here to this level of freedom? Sure, there was a lot of hard work and struggle and force to get here, to get to this place where I do have the financial freedom to support myself while I journey for a month in Hawaii. And while I don't even have all the next stages figured out, I saved up the money to do that and to support myself and to feel safe. But it wasn't the money that made me feel safe. And let me tell you how I know that. There have been moments where, like, even though I've got a cushion for the pushin', like a lot of cushion, I had a couple moments where I was like, triggered by like, oh no, but I'm not working right now. And I don't have a job, a classic job anymore. And I went, remember, it's not about the money. That's not where the safety comes from. Resource, return to source, breathe. And when I realigned with that, when I remembered my infinite creator power, I went, oh yeah, it's not about that. Definitely, if you are the type of person who is not yet regulated in your nervous system and you do not yet have a cushion fund, the fund for the fund, then perhaps do the work to get there. And again, it doesn't have to be a force. It doesn't have to be a struggle. It does require diligent effort in the right direction for you. But it doesn't have to be terrible and struggly and challengey like that. It will be maybe a challenge, but a good challenge, a joyful journey. So right now, I am anchored into the safety and the security of the self because nervous system regulation, because of knowing how to work with any of those feelings that come up when they do come up, because of knowing how to shift vibrations with intentionality, because of taking inspired and aligned action. When you can do all of those steps, oh, and I forgot to say about the shadow spotting. So, feeling the feelings that exist right now, name to tame, feel to heal. We need to feel it to transmute it. Spot the shadows. Understand the shadows that are lingering, the fear that is keeping you stuck, and illuminate and integrate the shadows. We don't want to hide them, shame them, try to shove them back into the shadows. It's not that game. It's illuminate and integrate. Then regulate your nervous system, then frequency shift, and then inspired and aligned action. When we've got all those components working together, this is how we allow ourselves to be the conscious co-creators of our reality. Because the void, it's not empty. It's not at all empty. This magic void is so beautiful. It's fertile. It's the womb of creation. I like to think about I'm sitting in the cosmic womb. It's the field of infinite potential. And that field of infinite potential can collapse into the timeline, into the now moment that you are destined to live. In this void, I've been asked to anchor even deeper into my faith, even deeper into my self-trust, to expand my capacity, to regulate my nervous system even more deeply, and to trust that the universe is always unfolding in ways better than I could ever imagine. And it is. It always comes out better than I could ever imagine. It's bizarre. It's wild. It's beautiful. And as I live this way, following my own frequency first framework, practicing what I preach, I witness daily miracles, all the ones that I've shared with you. And there's actually so many more that, one quick one, yesterday, when I got to this hotel, I trusted my highest self. It guided me to stay at this hotel. I was like, all right, fine, we're going to stay at this hotel. And when I got here, on site, there are petroglyphs. Petroglyphs are soul symbol codes. They're like the divine source codes that I work with from ancient times. And it was a soul remembrance of, oh yeah, this is why I'm here, because I needed to connect with those petroglyphs, because this is a soul checkpoint for me. And also to anchor in my frequency, my divine source codes here in this land. And then this morning when I came outside at sunrise, I woke up just before sunrise. My body woke me up. I came outside just before sunrise to meet with the sun, to anchor in divine source codes, work with my light language that I love to do with the rising sun. It started raining just as I started, and everybody ran for shelter, and I was like, it's just rain. And I continued doing my light language, enjoying the process. And then I was dancing with my light language, and I turned around, and I kid you not, there was a double rainbow over my hotel, directly over my hotel, from one side of my hotel to the other, framing like a divine gift from God. And I was just in awe, and it was so beautiful. And then a man came and asked me what I was doing. He's like, are you doing Tai Chi or something? I said, no, I'm working with divine source codes. And he was like, oh, that's so beautiful. And we had a quick little chat. And then before I went out for today, oh, that was a shift in light. Strange. When I went out for today, for my journey, I walked through the lobby, and there was a lady, and she said to me, were you the woman doing the healing this morning? And I said, yes. And she said, were you doing it for yourself or for the collective? And I said, of course, the collective, and always a little bit for myself. And she said, I felt it. And then I turned and I saw you. Full body chills. And my heart swells, my throat swells. And in this moment when she said that, I teared up so big, because I said, thank you for sharing that way. Because it's frequency first. She affirmed. She felt it first. And then she turned and she saw me. She didn't see me first. She felt me first. And she said, thank you to me. And I said, thank you to her. And we hugged. And it's these moments that I live for. These divine winks and moments of connection with other beings, other soul family, other soul tribe here in this universe, doing this work, anchoring in divine source codes. It is so, 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 so beautiful. I realize where that light's coming from. It's coming from my phone. Come to the campfire. So, the journal prompt for the integration piece. This is the integration. This is the embodiment. This is the architecture of New Earth. This is how you architect your new paradigm in real time. So, can you reframe the unknown in your life right now as fertile and not empty? And what would it mean to trust the magic void, to trust the unknown instead of fearing it? So, I could share infinite stories of co-creation and magic that have occurred today. Not just today, that have also today, but that have occurred on this journey in Hawaii. And over time, I will share more, I'm sure. And I will be sharing a lot more, actually, because now that I have stepped into this frequency of self-expression and no more shh-ing, I must boldly and courageously and lovingly express. And if you're here and you're loving it, show me some love. Like this video, share this video, comment. I'd love to know where you're coming from, where you're at in your life, what you're up to. And if there's some particular moment that resonated in this story, please share that too. If you can, timestamp it and tag me on social media to share it out, because I would love to repost, and I would also love to know what's resonating with you. But as we close today, I leave you with this. Integration is not just about insights. It's about embodiment. Shadow is not an enemy. It's alchemy. Grid working is not something only I do. It's something many of us are remembering. Remember? Visibility is not vanity. It's service, and it's the highest form of service. And the void is not empty. It's the fertile soil of your next becoming. And I just felt called to share the little analogy of a seed here. When a seed is being planted, and it has been planted, and you're watering it and tending to it, you don't dig up the seed to check that it's growing. No, you leave it alone in the magic void, and you trust the process. You know that it's going to take a little minute. So you have patience. You're not waiting. You are patient while what's going on beneath the surface or in the void, in the darkness, is transmuting, is becoming. And so I deeply desire that you're not just consuming this content, but that you are actively co-creating and architecting your own reality. So please choose one action today. Write it down. Write it down in the comments. Claim it. State it. Share it. Let it ripple. Inspire others. Uplift others. And then go out and do that action today. Please. This is how you can be of service to yourself, to others, to the collective. Because expression is liberation. And when you liberate yourself, you liberate the collective. And as always, if you are feeling called to receive support, to receive guidance, to receive mentorship, this is what I'm here for. This is what I do. This is what I help people with. It is my joy and my passion to share that with you. I would love to know if this is resonating with you. If you're like, yes, sign me up. I'm ready to take action in my life. No more playing small, no more hiding. I'm ready to be seen, held, and loved and fully supported. Please. My email is linked in the show notes below. And I actually have a direct link to book a session with me. So if you're feeling called to book a soul alchemy session, now's your chance. Please go ahead. Fill out the form, connect with me. I would love to serve and support you. And until next time, trust the magic. It is real. It is so, so, so real. You are the architect of your reality. Remember? And your heart is always home. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you for sharing your time and energy with me. I'm your host, Lizzie Siegel. From my heart to yours, namaste. And peace out.